What does that even mean, Bowers game?
Hi there, YouTube! I'm back here today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out MoonQuake Escape from Breaking Games. This is for 2 to 6 players. Take about 45 to 60 minutes to play, and it's for ages 10 plus. And in MoonQuake Escape, you are going to be playing as an alien who just broke out of jail. You're going to be trying to get to a rocket and escape the planet. But the board is going to be moving. Yes, it's a modular board that's going to be moving all around, messing up your plan. There's going to be prison guards chasing you, and all sorts of things like that. So, little backstory, this was one of my most anticipated games of Gen Con, both in 2015 and 2016, so needless to say, I was chomping at the bits to play this game. Does it live up to my expectations, though? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of MoonQuake Escape. First and foremost, we're going to handy dandy rule booklet, 16 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's pretty well done. You will have to keep going back to it quite frequently, especially when you first start the game, because there are quite a few moving parts and setup sort of things that you're going to be doing each turn, as the board, as you can see, is not your typical board. You're going to be moving everything on the board each turn. You're going to be moving this and spinning the spinner and doing all sorts of different various upkeep things, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. So in MoonQuake Escape, you're going to be playing as an alien, and you just escaped from prison, and now you're going to be trying to get to this rocket all the way at the top of the, whatever this thing would be called, the MoonQuake, I guess, and launch off the rocket by having one charge. But it's not going to be that simple, as other aliens are going to be trying to zap you. You're going to have guards chasing you and trying to zap you. You're going to have to deal with craters. And if you're playing the advanced version of the game, you're going to have to deal with all sorts of things like lava and magnetic fluxes and whatnot. Now, I will mention, I'm not going to go too much over the advanced version of the game. I will say, though, and I'll mention this in the pros and cons, I do highly recommend playing with it once you know what you're doing, because it really does add a good deal of variety to the game. But let's get to the base game, and I'll show you how that works. So setup-wise, you are going to have to set up the board. It's relatively easy once you know what you're doing. I'm not going to take it apart because it would take me a minute or two to get back together, but you're essentially going to be constructing this piece by piece by piece, and it's going to be forming like this pyramid in the middle. But it is pretty simple to set it up, which is always a good thing. Now, next you're going to pick out your alien, and you'll put your little standee on one of these spots where you start on the board. That's where you're breaking out of prison. All the aliens are completely symmetrical. They're all the same, and you're going to acquire 2 of the same alien card. One will go in front of you, so people remember who you are, and then one is actually going to be going face down in front of you, and this is your identity on the board. So what's going to happen is people are going to be trying to shoot you, revealing this card. If they reveal this card, you will not be able to continue forth to get to the rocket, which is the end game condition. So what you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to be trying to get to the rocket, all the while trying to zap other people's aliens and figure out which cards they are. But it will not be that easy, because what's going to happen is, and I'll just show you how it works, when you first start the game, you're going to be dealt 4 cards. So I have 2 pieces of equipment, which would go on my not ready equipment side. I would have to pay money, pay charges down here in order to put it on my ready equipment. But I'm going to put those over here, and then I'm going to be dealt 2 other cards. These are both nothing. Nothing happens when these get flipped over, but I'm going to mix these all together and hide these in front of me. So my alien is currently hidden, which is good. However, other people will be trying to zap me by flipping over these cards. If they get it correct, like they did there, bad stuff will happen and I will not be able to move towards the rocket. If they don't get it correct, this card is discarded and I am happy. But that'll make a little bit more sense later. So, you might also notice we start with this energy shield over here, and this is what everyone's going to start with. And this is really a fun element to the game, because an energy shield is kind of like, well, it's an energy shield. You're going to be able to place it on top of one of your cards you have out here. Now, you might put it on top of your actual alien, because you want to keep your alien safe. Or you might put it on top of another card just to throw people off. So there is a little bit of trickery going on there. But let's go over the turn phase and how everything works. The first phase is going to be the MoonQuake phase, and this is really where you're going to be doing a lot of the upkeep. You are going to be charging batteries by spinning the spinner like so, and everyone's going to get the same amount of chargers no matter what it lands on. You are going to be rolling the dice and changing the board. Also, this is going to get passed every turn to signify who is the first player. So if it's in front of me, I'm the first player. If it's in front of Billy over here, then Billy's the first player. You're also going to be rolling the dice and moving the bottom level 2 spots, and then moving the next level 2 spots to the left, then moving the third level nothing. So this is going to impact how the moon is going to be changing, how the board is going to be changing, and you are going to be moving with the board, which is pretty cool. Next, you are going to be doing the escape phase. This is where you are going to be moving one space closer to winning the game. In the base game, you're just going to have plains and craters, and occasionally, once you get to the very top, you'll have little laser fields. But the thing you need to know is you generally want to stay out of craters unless you have special equipment, or unless you absolutely have to go into a crater because they're more difficult to enter. So right now, we would go to the plain because our alien card is currently concealed, and that would be the end of that phase. The movement phase is a very simple phase. Next, you get to the action phase. The action phase is going to have you performing various different actions, which are luckily all on your card right here. As you can see, my little clip keeps coming off. I'll have to mention that more in the pros and cons. But you're going to be performing various different actions. And one nice thing about this is each space that you go on also has an action that you can do. So I'll tell you about all the different actions. So the main one you're going to be doing a lot is the zap. And this is the one where you're going to be not randomly, you're going to be picking out one card from someone else's area, and you're going to say, I am zapping that card, and they have to flip it over. Now, you are hoping to get their alien, because that's going to make it harder for them to win the game. However, there are tons of other cards in the game which we haven't even covered, so we'll start going over some. Stasis gun jam. Attacker cannot use the stasis gun until the next action phase, so they may not zap anymore. Well, that's an alien one. Next, we have the defense gun. Aims and fires at attackers, so the defender zaps one of the attacker's cards, ignoring any effects. So let's see. We got the prison guard. Move the prison guard to the defender's space, which can be very bad. You know, you got more equipment, like the repair kit. Let's see. The tractor beam, which will actually aim and move the attacker. The grenade launcher, one of my favorite ones. Zap a shield and the next card under it. So you're going to be able to essentially do double zap if someone has an energy shield. But there's all sorts of cards. Lucky shot, defender loses a charge. Ricochet shot, attacker zaps an additional card from this defender. Lots of different various things that are going to spice up the game. And sometimes you really don't want people to hit a couple of your different cards. So you might put an energy shield on, say, the one that lets people zap twice. There's a lot of unique elements there with those cards. So zap is the first action. Next is zip. That's going to cost you one of your charges, and you're going to be able to move up to 2 spaces on your current ring. Now, this doesn't mean you can go up. You can only go to the side. You generally won't do it too terribly much in the base version of the game unless you're stuck in a crater or something like that. But once you get to the more advanced version of the game, this one becomes a lot more prevalent. Next, you can ready a card. You can ready an equipment card, use it for free anytime after it's ready. And how you ready it is you just pay the charge on the bottom left and you move it over to the ready side, because if it's not on the ready side, other people can steal it, which gives me to the next action. You can take an unready equipment from someone as long as you are sharing the same space with them. So if you have a really good card over here, but you have not ready it yet, someone can turn around and steal it for an action. You can spy, secretly look at the hidden card in another player's hand. So you can be like, I'm just going to take a look at this one and realize it's nothing. And then obviously not zap it. And the last but not least, you can scan, which is where you're going to be able to draw a card from the deck to add to your hand. But it's going to cost you 3 cards. Yes, 3 charges, I should say. But some of these cards can be incredibly helpful. This one, probably not the most helpful, but those are the actions that you'll be able to take on your turn. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, though, you'll also be able to take an additional action depending on which spot you are on. So, for instance, if I was right here, I would be able to spy at another player's card for free because it's got the little eyeball. So one player's going to do all their actions, then the next player, then the next player, then the next player, so on and so forth. And once everyone has taken all their actions that they want to take, because charges do go from round to round to round, so you can potentially accrue a bunch of charges, you'll get to the guard phase, which is pretty simple. If no aliens are on the ring where the guard is, so let's just pretend that this was how the board looked right now, then the guard is going to move 1 space up. He's going to move to the next higher ring. However, if there is an alien that is on the same space as the guard is going to boo, 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 boo. He is going to zap that player. And if for some unfortunate reason, because there are cards that will do this sort of thing, there are numerous players on the same ring as the guard will zap all the different players. And this is really fun too, because someone else gets to zap for the guard. So I really like when the guard comes into play, but I'll tell you more about that in the pros and cons. You check for a winner, and if there's not a winner, then you rinse, wash, and repeat. You move this around, you roll to see how the board's going to get all modified, and you're going to do the dance over and over again until someone is able to successfully get to the top, has at least one charge to power the rocket, and has not had their alien revealed, at which point they will be the winner of MoonQuake Escape, and that in a nutshell is how the game is played. Alrighty then, MoonQuake Escape from Breaking Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a couple different reasons. First, player counts, it goes 2 to 6, which sounds great, but I did not like the game at 2 players. There's just not enough going on at 2 players. And at 5 and 6 players, the game stretches out longer than you're going to want it to play. I definitely think 3 and 4 players is the sweet spot with this game. And the main reason why 5 and 6 players was too long is because of how much randomness there is in the game. And that's going to be a turnoff to a lot of people. I personally don't mind it, but a lot of people are not going to be a big fan of how much randomness there is. You're going to be spinning the ball to see how many charges you get. You're going to be rolling the dice to see how the board is going to move. You're going to be picking out random cards from other people, and they might potentially have bad effects on you that you were not expecting. It's all random. You know, you might pay 3 charges, and you might draw just a card you absolutely have no need for. You might draw a nothing card, and you're not going to like that randomness, whereas someone else might get something that's really awesome. So, good deal of randomness in this game, which is going to turn off some people, especially when the game drags out, which it does have a problem doing, especially at the higher player counts, because there's also a pick on the leader problem with this game, a munchkin problem, if you want to call it there, where if you're in first place or second place or tied for first place, everyone is going to be zapping you. It's just that simple. There's really not too much of a reason why you would zap someone who's not in first place. So if you are near winning the game, everyone is going to zap you. And then once they reveal your alien, everyone is going to zap the next person who's in second place. And rinse, wash, and repeat, which is partially why the game drags on so long. It can be very difficult to get all the way up there and get that rocket up, which is good, but it's also bad at the same time. Another con that I have with this game is that I want to play the advanced version of the game. I want to play the B side of the game with the magnetic flux and the ion storms and the lava and all the really cool stuff, but it's not the kind of game where you can just do that on when you're first teaching people, I don't think. I feel like this is the kind of game where you need to play the vanilla version of the game before you get to the spicy version of the game, however you want to put that. And that just annoys me because the vanilla version of the game I found to be really boring compared to the spicy version of the game. Like, once I played with the B side, I was like, I never want to play with the A side ever again. Just period. But when you're teaching new people, you kind of have to play with the A side. So it's annoying because you're like, I want to do this, but I have to do this. And it does detract a little bit from the game. Which another con that I have with this is that I wish there were asymmetrical powers, especially as an advanced version of the game. You know, just an alien, like your alien just does one special thing. I think that would be great. And I feel like it was a missed opportunity. And yeah, I'm hammering it pretty hard right now. I had super high expectations for the game, so I feel like I need to hammer it really hard. Any other cons I have with the game? Oh, when you're first learning the game, the first 1 or 2 times you set it, you're going to be going back to the rule booklet quite frequently to make sure that you're doing everything right. Because during the MoonQuake phase, you're going to be rolling dice and moving boards and doing this, and there's special cards that will do different things, so you'll be going back to the glossary to figure out how everything works. You're going to be going back to it quite frequently, which isn't a huge deal, but it is something that I did want to mention. And that's what I got on the con side. So moving on to the pro side, this was one of my most anticipated games of 2016, and also 2015 when I thought it was going to come out earlier. I was very excited about it. Does it live up to my hype? Unfortunately, it does not. But do I still think it's a good game? Yes, I do still think it's a good game. Absolutely, 100% a try before you buy game, though. I do want to mention that. But what do I like about the game? I just like how the mechanisms work. I like how everything works. I like how you have your alien and you're trying to keep it secret. And so you're like, where should I put this energy shield? Or where should I put this card? Should I put my energy shield on top of this card because they'll think it's an alien? Or should I actually put it on top of my alien because then this guy's a little bit low on charges, so I don't think he's going to want to go through this, but this guy has a grenade launcher, so I have to take that into consideration. I like that aspect of the game. I love how the prison guard works. I really think the prison guard spices up the game drastically because he zaps after everyone else zaps. And so he can be the difference, the big difference between someone going up a level, potentially getting to the rocket, and someone not getting to the rocket. And I like that tension there where you're like, oh, which one are you going to zap? And you're like, that one. And you're like, oh, we got the alien. And everybody cheers and has fun. And that's great. I really do enjoy that aspect of the game. I like the player aid card. It works very well. It has all the information that you need, especially the terrain key on the back. And very useful once you go to the advanced version of the game, which, as I mentioned, I really like the advanced version of the game. All the different things that are on this. And I like playing that way each and every time. But unfortunately, as I mentioned in the cons, not possible. I like the variety of cards. I like all the repair kits, the extra batteries, the energy shields, the gravity boots. I like all the equipment. I like the random cards too that will do different things like shake up the game, like making it go from, clockwise to counterclockwise, or make it so everybody gets this many charges or that many charges, or the prison guard goes here, or you get to zap twice, or this or that. I felt like there was a good variety of cards, and that was very good as well. The presentation of the game looks fantastic. You set it on the board, people will be like, whoa, what's that? That looks cool. You're instantly going to have curb appeal there. The board's very functional. It works pretty well. It's nicely built. And overall, I enjoyed MoonQuake Escape. I did. I think it's a good, solid game. Is it amazing? Is it great? Probably not. It might be to you, but to me personally, it just didn't live up to my hype, partially because I really don't want to play it at 2 and 6 players that often, and partially because I don't want to play it on the A side, I only want to play it on the B side, and partially because I wish there were asymmetrical powers, but it's enough hammering it. MoonQuake Escape, absolutely a try before you buy game, but still a very solid game that I did enjoy. MoonQuake Escape from Breaking Games. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, what was the last thing that you were super excited to try, and then you're like, it was good, but it wasn't great. For me personally, it was actually last night. My wife brought home this cupcake, and this cupcake was purple. Like, it was all purple. Like, the cake was purple, and the frosting was purple, and the sprinkles were purple, and she was just talking all day about it. She texted me during this. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm bringing home this cupcake. It's amazing. And then on the drive home, I was talking to her. She's like, oh yeah, I got an extra cupcake for you. It's so good. And then I got home, and I ate the cupcake, and I was like, it's a cupcake. It's pretty good. And she's like, oh, you don't like it? And I was like, I don't dislike the cupcake. It's a good cupcake, but I don't think the cupcake's amazing. I don't think the cupcake is worth texting about. But needless to say, the cupcake was my disappointment. So what was your most recent big disappointment? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.